Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, June 17th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. Also, if you trade Bitcoin, I'll do a bonus analysis at the end. Real quick, if you do have a request for one, then go ahead and leave that in the comment section and I'll do my best to do that chart in a future video. So first off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right here is still going to be moving around and changing. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, Kavl. And what a monster move today, and what a crazy last 30 minutes. I mean, at one point, the price was all the way up here. Now it's come all the way back down. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the level that most people, I think, are going to be watching going into next week, right up there at, let's just call it the 805 mark. Nothing fancy, no major logic other than the fact of that's where the price got rejected from there. And yes, the price did slightly get above it, but then the momentum completely disappeared. And once again, that level has shown up as an area of resistance. So 805 going to be public enemy number one from the resistance side of things. In terms of areas of support, let's get this trend line into play. Change that to green to represent support. I think that could be a very worthwhile trend line to keep an eye on. So if you like to play more so pullbacks, are there guarantees? No, but is it logical to think that the price could come down here and bounce off it like it's done before? Yeah, that is certainly a plausible outcome. But anyway, look at it. Big volume today. Very nice price movement. So if you like this price range down below $10, I'd certainly keep an eye on it next week. Next one, Nvda, and the upwards grind continues. This thing just does not care about having red days. It just goes up seemingly every day, but that's how trends are built. So let's make a couple of adjustments. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line as it served its purpose. First key update comes about based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So the ideal level of support moving forward, if you say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest going forward? That would be if the price can stay above 129.80. Now, if the price falls below that level, that doesn't mean the entire chart's epically destroyed or anything like that. But that would certainly make this chart look the strongest. From an overarching standpoint, just keep an eye on that purple line right there, 50-period moving average. Keyword there being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. And it's essentially like a trend line that's drawn out itself for you. So as long as the price stays above the quote-unquote upwards trend line, then the overall trend is still in the bull's favor. And then in terms of areas of resistance, nothing fancy here. Just connecting a couple of these highs today. Create a little bit of a slightwards downwards trend line right there, but keep an eye on that breakout area right there. But all in all, this thing keeps putting in those higher highs and higher lows, and that's what matters most. Next, SVMH. Pretty ugly looking chart here, but for you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly, and the opportunity revolves around how the price is pulling back quite a bit, but now nearing these key moving averages. You already know about the purple line, that 50-period moving average, but you also, not that far away, have the pink line, the 200-period moving average. And while nothing is guaranteed, is it plausible to think that this pullback could come down around this area, maybe consolidate out and get some sort of bounce? Yeah, that is certainly a plausible thought process, especially when you've had such a drastic pullback in the downwards direction. And this is one of these situations where, and if you've ever been there where something's going down and down, and you're like, you know what, this thing is the worst thing ever. I'm just getting out. And as soon as you get out, then all of a sudden the price turns around. I think we've all been there with any amount of experience. And that's what you're starting to gear towards here. That's what you're trying to time with these sorts of situations where where's the point where a lot of people might just wave the white flag, but that's also where the buyer starts to step in, and those moving averages could provide that area right there. So if you like penny stocks, you like these sorts of opportunity in the ugly, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, KITT, and overall, disappointing day. Now, let me take a step back. Big picture-wise, everything is still perfectly fine, but when you look at just today, yes, a disappointing day. I mean, it had this big surge, and now you can see right now basically giving up all those gains. So micro intraday just today, yeah, very disappointing. Taking a step back and looking at multiple days, everything is fine. Fine, quote unquote, being defined as maintaining above that pink line there, which you now know is that very important 200-period moving average. You can see back on Thursday, did a good job of holding strong. This morning went slightly below it, but then all of a sudden turned itself around and came back upwards, even though it is giving up those gains. So it's really just, is this a good or bad looking chart? Well, it's all about your vantage point. If you're some sort of day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, from that vantage point, the chart looks absolutely terrible, but that doesn't mean that it's a terrible looking chart for everybody. But anyway, look at it. Yeah, disappointing day, in terms of the surge upwards, and now it's giving up those gains, but the price is still maintaining above. 0.168, which is that key moving average down there. So we'll see if the price can at least stay above it next week. Next one, Lgvn, and overall another good mover today. Now, once again, a little bit of perspective here. If you're a day trader and you were buying right there, or you were buying right there and wanted to buy and sell within 10 minutes, and then yes, from that standpoint, chart's looking pretty rough. But assuming you care about the bigger picture of things, the price is still building those higher bases, putting in higher lows, and that's what matters most. So in terms of areas of support, got a nice little area of support right there via that trend line. And then in terms of areas of resistance, just come right across the top. They're going to try to find a middle ground, call it 405. I say middle ground because I realize right here price didn't quite hit it, but then right there the price actually went slightly above it. So I'm just going to call the middle ground area right there at the 405 mark as that main area of resistance. And then if you're somebody that likes patterns, you essentially have an overarching, put the golf hole down here to make it, for you golfers, make it more visual. You have an overarching bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, you like stocks down below $5, keep an eye on it. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, GME, and overall, the main levels that I've been talking about played a role today, and they both acted as you suspected they might. So the first key level that I've been talking about, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but I've been talking about 29.75 as the key area of resistance, and you can see that today. Price started up. Now, it did get a break of that area, but that didn't last very long. Momentum disappeared. Back down it went. Tried again. Momentum disappeared. And even right here, slightly got up above that level. Momentum disappeared. So the problem here is not necessarily breaking above 29.75. The problem has clearly become every time it does so, the momentum just cannot sustain itself. So that's going to be the main challenge moving forward. Again, not breaking above 29.75, but the challenge of sustaining and growing any sort of breakout momentum. Now, on the good news front, price is doing a fantastic job of honoring that purple line there, 50 period moving average. You can see it actually started back yesterday, and then on the pullback, I mean, just beautiful action. Look at that. Cruising right above it. So that's what you want to see. Now, to be fair, if the price drops below the purple line, does not mean the entire chart's destroyed, because not that far away. You then have the big brother right here, the 200 period moving average, which you can also see has done a fantastic job of providing support. But yeah, what make the chart look the best moving forward? Certainly staying above that purple line there. But yeah, 29.75, definitely public enemy number one going into next week. Next, SOFI, and this one has been absolutely brutalized today. But with all that being said, when you have a relatively popular stock, absolutely brutalized, and then you start to get some of this action right here, always becomes interesting, because it at least makes it valid to throw out the question, hey, is this the bottom finally forming? Are the sellers finally done? Now, there's no guarantees. Case in point right here. You did have some sideways action, but at least the market was kind and just flat out gapped down. Nothing worse than this where it acts like it wants to be strong and then flushes. Today, it just gapped down. So that's always was a good sign there and was polite to people thinking about whether or not that was the bottom. But same general idea here. It at least makes sense. Case in point, let's say the price was dropping, and I'm sitting there saying, hey, it's looking like this might be some sort of bottom. You'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about, Clay? Based on what? The price is literally still just going down. But that's not the case here, right? The price has at least started to go sideways. So does that mean a guaranteed bottom? No. Does it make it a whole lot more plausible? Absolutely. So if you like this price range, you like relatively popular stocks getting absolutely beat down, and then you get some sort of movement that suggests maybe a bounce is coming, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, Lrhc. Huge movement today. I'm assuming some sort of news, as the volume really just came pouring in. But overall, an interesting situation here as we head into next week. First off, a couple of key areas of support. First level going to be that pink line right there, 200 period moving average. If that level can't quite hold up, not the end of the world, because you then have the 50 period moving average down there. Base that we'll just call 96.5 cents. And I would definitely call the that level very important. And I'm not saying this will occur, but for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here and then break down through there, at that point in time, what do you have? Well, you start to have the price essentially having gone right back to where it was. And that's not exactly a sign of true strength when you have a price make an absolutely huge move and then go right back to where it was. In fact, in trading terminology, you'd almost call that a pump and dump. Once again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but that's why I would consider that 96 area a very, very important level of support. And as I speak now, you can see it's actually pulling down a little bit more. In terms of areas of resistance, nothing fancy here. Literally just a question of, well, where did the party finally stop today? and that was right up there at essentially the $1.80 mark, so keep an eye on that. But top priority right now is just making sure that this pullback, and I would still just call it a pullback, but making sure this pullback does not spin out of control. And once again, spinning out of control, quote unquote, I define as breaking down below that 96-cent mark. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall, not a great day, especially when you consider out how it started strong and it pulled back. But from big picture wise, by no means any sort of disaster. In fact, from a support standpoint, price behaved just like you would want to see it. So going back in the history of things, you can see that pink line did a great job of providing support. And then you fast forward to today, another great example of it holding that support. And in fact, now it's actually cruising right up above that purple line there. But point being is that 200 period moving average right now valued at 176.85 is an area that you would want to see hold strong, and it has indeed held strong. One little update, just based on the rules and charting, when levels of support are broken, they tend to act as resistance. So if this thing does try to bounce back upwards, one of the newest areas of resistance now to keep an eye on is 180.60, then followed by the 185.25 mark. But now if next week, if the price comes down there and breaks through that pink line there, that's where things start to get a little shaky for the bulls. But as of right now, sure, disappointing for anybody that bought on the gap up there. But bigger picture wise, the price is doing a great job honoring those key supports. Next, TQQQ, and overall this thing continues to grind higher and higher. Not necessarily an explosive day, but a good healthy day. And the biggest sign of health is just continuing to stay above that trend line, which I've drawn from past videos. Now, if the price does fall below there, it doesn't mean the chart's ruined. You still have a ton of other areas of support below it, including this very strongly upward sloping purple line. But the fact that it continues to remain above both these levels really just shows how strong this one has been and how it just continues to grind higher and higher. And then in terms of areas of resistance, no need to overthink it. We're at all-time highs on this one, so let's just do a quick adjustment. And I should note that from a bullish standpoint, whenever levels of support resistance need to be adjusted in the upwards direction, that's always a good sign. So right now, $74.10 going to be the key level there. But as you can see here, I mean, just absolutely to think that not that long ago, it was all the way down here, now all the way up here. We'll see if this momentum carries into next week. I will get to Bitcoin here in just a second, but for you stock traders, again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, then definitely go get signed up for the free live webinar. When I say live, it really is live, so bring your questions because there will be a question and answer session, but it'll be next week, Thursday, June 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so go get signed up. Now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick clarification here. I'm now looking at the 4-hour time frame instead of the 30 minutes. So each one of these represents 4 hours of time. And that's because Bitcoin's open 24/7. And I want this analysis to remain relevant for as long as possible. But as I speak right now, things are not looking so good. Not necessarily because it's red, but because the price is now broken down through the bottom part of that channel. So I'm going to treat this as you're just watching this video, let's say Sunday afternoon, and walk yourself through some questions that you have. So question number one to ask yourself is, where's the price at relative to 66,100? If you're saying in any way, shape, or form that the price is back above that area, that is a good thing, because that would imply that this current breakdown right now as I speak has pretty much fizzled out, meaning it's leveled out and actually gone back upwards a little bit. So like I said, even if it's just slightly above it, sure, it'd be much better if it just completely snapped back upwards. But any sort of question of that answer where it's or answer that question, excuse me, that the price is above 66,100, that would be a good sign, in the simple reasoning that would mean that this downward movement right here has at least fizzled out. Now, if you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is still down below 66,000, actually, that needs to be changed to red because it's now a resistance. But if you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is still down below 66,100, well, then the next question you need to ask yourself, and we got to go back in the history of things here, is, okay, well, where is the price at relative to this area down here at 63,500? If somehow you're answering the question that the price is down below there, that is not a good sign at all, because that would be, it's been such a long time. But if you're answering the question that the price is down below that green line, that would be implying that the price has now gone all the way back to that range down here that it's not seen for several weeks. And again, assuming you're bullish, price movements going back to previous ranges, not a good sign. So keep that in mind. Now, if you're answering the question that the price is still above 63,500, that could still mean that this breakdown has picked up more pace, but it's not like it's been a total train wreck of a breakdown. Again, how am I defining train wreck? Well, any sort of movements down below 63,500. But yeah, as I speak right now, big breakdown. Is this the start of something much bigger? Those of you watching a couple days from now, several hours from now, you'll have a much better insight. But as of now, right in the middle of the breakdown. As I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader because what you're learning about with the class can and definitely should be used within your trading too. So go get signed up. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, June 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and bring your questions because there will be that live question and answer session as part of it. So thank you for watching. If you appreciate these top 10 videos, do a couple things for me if you don't mind. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching next week, or again, leave a request and I'll do my best to get to it for a future video. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend and go get signed up for that free webinar.